What's going on, family? This is your girl. Look, I came to do a video about when a spirit has passed on and it was murdered or killed. Make sure you guys share, like, and subscribe. So again, I'm coming to you today to talk to you about what happens to the spirit that is murdered or killed. Now, today, in 22 years, I stepped foot in the backyard, in the front yard of the home where my father was killed. And so before I get too deep into my story, let me tell y'all how I even got there. I been knew where the house was at. I knew the street. I knew what the house looked like back then. I couldn't remember if the number was 29 or 37. So, for years, I had them been passing this house, going to the 37 address. But today, while I'm driving on that side of town, my ancestors said to me, they said, stop by that house. I fucking made a U-turn to go back. So I drove, and while I'm making a U-turn to go back, it's an electric speed limit thing to tell you how fast the fuck you're going. Now the speed limit on the sign says 30. But I'm going 29. My ancestor said that's the confirmation that the house number is 29. So I pull up. I see a couple cars in the yard, so I'm thinking to myself, based on what the house looked like, it's black people staying in that shit. So I park across the street and I look at the house. Then I proceed to drive off. My ancestors say, no, go knock on the door. And I don't give a fuck how freaky your shit sound. Ask them, explain to them who you are. But ask them, have they been having any paranormal activities in their house? So I do this fucking shit. I swear to God. I didn't think I was gonna do it, but I do this fucking shit, right? I get the strength, I get the courage that I need up. Knock on the door. Boom, boom, boom. An old white lady came out the door. Pause. My daddy was married to a white woman when he passed away, who I feel partook in his death. Now, the second thing about this white woman was that my dad got her teeth fixed because they was ate up and corroded from all the cocaine use from back in the day, right? So this lady opened the door up. She ain't got no teeth in her mouth, just little ate up crumbs from the cocaine. I ain't talking shit about this lady because she was a very sweet lady. I know she had a past though. I could tell by the quality of her teeth. So, because it take very poor, I mean, you got to be doing some serious chemical drugs for your teeth that's designed to be in your mouth for the rest of eternity, to fucking corrode out your mouth while you still alive. It's rare that shit happened back in the days. But anyway, so fast forward. So I knock on the door and I say, hey, blah, 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 blah. And she said, yeah, it be all kind of weird shit happening. And I was like, oh, wow. So she started telling me about her history with the house, some of the house history since the 22 years since my dad died in the house. And so I asked her, I said, do you mind if I look at the backyard? And so she was like, yeah, it's crazy back there. Like, it is shit everywhere back there. So I go back there. She let me go back there. She goes back there with me. She wants a hug before we go back there. Because, see, this is spiritual. So I hug her because I don't know her, but I hug her because this is solving some shit in my life. So I hugged this lady. And when I hugged her, I began to cry. And she was explaining to me about her family's dynamics and how things was taken from her and this, that, and the third. So I go in the backyard, y'all, and to my disbelief, there were piles of garbage and trash. I didn't even take a picture of that shit. I took a picture of the front, which I'll upload by the time you see this video. That will be the thumbnail, is a picture of this house, what it looks like. So it's piles of trash all the way up to the back of the house. All right. It is the 2 palm trees that my dad had planted. These palm trees extend over the back of the house. They just as tall as the pine trees that's in the neighborhood and the oak trees that's in the neighborhood. The yard, it had a garden area. The trellis that my dad put back there, it was only one piece of the post left. The rest of it was gone. It looked like rats because of all the bags of bust open garbage. It's probably has a rat problem, but the lady has a cat, so the cat probably chases off, the rats from coming inside the house. But no doubt, if she didn't have cats, she would definitely have rats. That's how trashy it was. The grass, where it was pretty grass, it's just a bunch of weeds, overgrown. The backyard is overgrown. It's just unkept. Now on the physical house, there are holes. It's a brick home. There are holes in the bricks missing. The eave for the roof. Most people, the color trim house, where people paint the trim of the house, that's ate up, wood rotted. The roof is the same roof from 22 years ago or worse. The roof is just disgusting. It looks like it leaks. The mailbox looks like somebody it's just dried blood just drenched all over it. And I know you don't know, but dried blood, when it dries up, it turns black. When it gets a quantity of it, it will turn black. And so that's basically what the fuck has happened to this house. And so it's alarming, because that lets me know that my dad's murdered and killed spirit was there. Because if my dad died naturally and his spirit was living there in peace, or if he died naturally and his spirit wasn't trapped in that house or in that property would have looked like the properties across the street, which was well maintained. This is in a nice neighborhood, might I add, okay? And when I say nice neighborhood, we're talking about 2 earning incomes. Most people have mortgages on these houses. If there is some rental property, it's like 1 or 2 rental companies that has a cluster of homes in this property. Not only that, this property still has not been owned by anyone that lives in it. This property is still investment property, which it was when my dad when my dad was living in it. It was a rental property. It was his rental property. He didn't own it. And so the screens are coming down. It had like a wooden or they built in the back patio and put a screen, or like a screen thing around it. That is disgusting. It's hanging. The wood is rotted. It just shows you that this person's energy has now turned negative. There's a broken down car in front of it. That's a lot of negative energy around a home that someone allegedly died in a peaceful way, no. Or in a natural way, no. But a lot of people never really look at it like that. So what I did today was I did the spiritual thing. I called my daddy ass, come on. Let's go where you want to be happy, with people that know you exist there. You don't have to keep haunting these people in this property. Bring your ass the fuck on. So now my daddy's with me. And now watch how the property itself starts to pick up and increase and get better. I also left my phone number with the young lady because the property's in such distress that they're going to have to probably gut that house. And if there is any thing that my father was able to hide in that house during the reconstruction period, is when they'll find it. If anything was buried in the yard, this is when it will be dug up. So I have to keep in touch. And I'm going to get in touch with the owner as well and let them know. Because we in a spiritual world now. Motherfuckers know more than they act. Sometimes when you real with people, the universe will open shit up where your intentions are good. Who would have known that lady would have let me? She even offered me to go in her house. I declined it. Because with that much negative energy, I know what it would have done to my spirit. It would have vexed my spirit. But what I did do was I left her a selenite, a self-charging crystal that will remove negativity. That's what I left her. And I gave her one with my spirit on it. Because she don't do the work I do. And I leave spiritual imprints no matter where I go. Because I'm a spiritualist. So 45,000 years from now, they're going to be digging up footprints from me. Just like they did with the dinosaurs. Just like they did with the giants. That are no longer here. So hopefully, you got something from that. I surely did. And one of the things that I am going to do is I am going to post this video on Facebook, because I want my dumbass family members who have committed these acts against my father, I want them to know that what they done is still held within this earth. It's not a secret. It's just that people ain't smart enough to pay attention to the signs that the Most High is sending. But since they won't, I will. I'll put the shit together for you and for anybody else who need it. Never forget that fucking shit. Because that's what I do. I remove the blinders. So anyway, I'm going to let these, people continue to try to hide behind the lies. But one thing about the truth, it'll stand when all the lies fall apart. It will stand when all the lies fall apart. So don't let people fool you. Don't let people motherfucking fool you. I wasn't even thinking about going by that house. I swear I wasn't even thinking about going too near nowhere by around. No hearsay. I wasn't thinking nothing about that fucking shit. It just so happened to be my ancestors took me on that side of town and was like, go by the house. I never thought about going by the house like that before, and knocking on the door. I went by there to drive by, but when I drove by back then, and this was a few years ago, I couldn't remember what fucking house it was. I thought that was the house, but I couldn't really, you know what I'm saying? Because I used to suffer from short-term memory loss. And Like my granddaddy liked to tell me, you got selective memory. You like to memorize the shit you like to memorize, so that's what I got. I got selective memory, according to him. But in my mind, it's all good. But look, I'm up here at this gas station because I definitely got to get some gas and use the bathroom. But hey, remember what I said, man. Do your work. Do the research. Sometimes your ancestors will put you on the path to solve things in their life because it affects your life and it involves your life and it involves your life leveling up. So don't let people fuck to fool you. Peace, light, and love. Do the work.